Men, here's a number that should shock you. Neuroscientists at Cambridge University found that the brain scans of compulsive porn users are virtually identical to the brain scans of cocaine addicts. The same neural pathways, the same cravings. And if you are a man trying to break free from a toxic relationship, what you are about to hear is the missing piece in your battle plan. Today, we answer the question, does porn impact men's mental health more than we understand? Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Narc Free Man Podcast.
Welcome back to the Narc Free Man Podcast. I'm Philip Dugas. This is where we move beyond man up and get into the real strategic work of reclaiming your mind, your identity, and your life from narcissistic abuse. And we can't have that conversation honestly without tackling one of the biggest, most silent sabotages of men's mental health today: pornography. This isn't a lecture, it's a briefing, and it might just explain why you feel so stuck. Most men were sold a lie. We were told porn was harmless, a private release, maybe even a way to cope with the stress of a toxic relationship. But that's the trap. For the man dealing with a narcissistic woman, porn isn't a release valve. It's a pressure cooker. Let's break down the 3 ways it's weaponized against your mental health. First, it chemically numbs you. Every time you use porn, you get a massive artificial hit of dopamine. It's a reward without any effort. Your brain, in its wisdom, says, we are getting too much of this, and it numbs your dopamine receptors. The result? The things that used to bring you joy, like your kids, your work, your hobbies, it starts to feel flat and gray. You are left in a state of emotional numbness, which is exactly where a female narcissist wants you, unable to connect with the joy that would give you the strength to leave her. Second, it wires you for broken intimacy. Porn teaches a transactional, performance-based model of sex. It's about conquest and fantasy, not connection and vulnerability. So when you are with a real, complicated woman, especially one who manipulates, your brain is expecting a script. When you don't get it, you feel frustrated, disconnected, and confused. It drives a wedge of silence and resentment right into the heart of your relationship. And third, and this is critical, it makes you a perfect target for manipulation. A narcissistic woman can sense a man who is numbed out and sexually frustrated. She uses that. She withholds intimacy as punishment, then dangles it as a reward. Your dependency on porn makes you more vulnerable to this toxic cycle because it's already conditioned you to seek sexual validation in a dysfunctional, isolated way. You are being prepped for her abuse without ever knowing it. Now, let's take a look at the evidence. And this isn't just my opinion. The data paints a damning picture, especially for men in this situation with being with a narcissistic woman. The erosion of confidence. Studies in the Journal of Sexual Medicine are now documenting a surge in porn-induced erectile dysfunction in young, healthy men. Their bodies work with a screen, but shut down with the real woman. Think about the message that sends to your psyche. It tells you that you are broken. It confirms the very insecurities the narc is already weaponizing against you. It's a direct attack on your core identity as a man. Let's talk about the anxiety and depression link. A major review in the journal Cyberpsychology, Behavior, and Social Networking found a clear and significant correlation between frequent porn use and higher levels of anxiety, depression, and stress. You are flooding your system with a super stimulus and then wondering why your real life feels so empty and overwhelming. This mental fog is the very thing that keeps you from thinking clearly and strategizing your escape. The narcissism feedback loop. This is the crucial part for us. Research has shown that porn use can foster something called sexual narcissism, a sense of entitlement and objectification. At the very same time, it creates profound shame and insecurity. And this creates a perfect storm. You walk around feeling entitled to a fantasy while being crushed by the shame of your reality. This internal conflict makes you volatile, insecure, and easy to manipulate. And you become the perfect fuel for a narcissist's games. If you are listening to this podcast right now, you already know what it feels like to be stuck in the cycle, walking on eggshells, explaining yourself, and losing your peace piece by piece. That's why I wrote my book, How to Lead a Female Narcissist. It's not theory, it's a step-by-step plan to help you break free from the manipulation, rebuild your confidence, and finally walk away with clarity and power. If you are tired of starting over every time she love bombs you back in, this book will show you exactly how to break that bond for good. Go to my website, philipcdugas.com, or just click the link in the show notes below and grab your copy today. Now back to the show. I want you to think about this not as a study, but as a story. I worked with a client, let's call him David. David was in deep. His wife was a classic covert narcissist. The gaslighting was so severe, he was questioning his own memory. He came to me and said, Philip, the trauma bond is a prison. I can't leave. But as we dug in, we found the master lock. It was his secret, shame-filled porn habit that had started years ago as a stress reliever. He thought it was his only escape, but it was the very chain that kept him bound. Now here's why. The porn had numbed him to the real pain of his marriage. It gave him just enough of a dopamine hit to tolerate the intolerable for another week. It eroded his self-worth, making him believe he didn't deserve a real, intimate connection. And most crucially, it kept him isolated in his shame. So he never felt he could tell anyone what was really happening at home. Not just with her, but inside him. The day he recognized that his porn use wasn't a separate issue, but was actually the primary tool enabling his abuse, that was the day his recovery truly began. That was the day he stopped fighting 10 different battles and started focusing on the one central front, reclaiming his own mind. So, does porn impact men's mental health more than we understand? The answer is a resounding yes. It's not just a bad habit. It's a neurological hijacking that numbs you, a relational model that breaks you, and a psychological trap that sets you up to be the perfect victim for a narcissist. It keeps you stuck in the fog, second-guessing your reality and draining the very strength you need to break free. This is a tough conversation, but a necessary one. How has this battle shown up in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could be the key that unlocks another man's prison. And for more tools, insight, and wisdom to how to deal with a female narcissist, how to leave a toxic relationship, or how to co-parent with the narcissist, make sure to subscribe to the Narc Free Man podcast on YouTube. Or if you're listening to this on the audio version on Spotify or Apple, make sure to subscribe there as well and leave a rating and a review to help more men find this podcast. Until next time, stay strong, stay steady, stay porn free, and I'll see you in the next episode.